What is going on, everyone? My name's Boit, and I'm back with some more Age of Mythology retold action. We got an absolute scorcher of a game here for you today. In the blue color, playing as Amaterasu, everyone's favorite waifu. It is Mosca. His opponent today in the red color, playing as Huitzilopochtli. It is Keto, Severo, Jones, Bones, Malone. The map is Marsh, and I believe these two players are literally the two highest rated players on the ladder. We've basically got a rank 1 versus rank 2 type affair. And the really cool thing about Keto and Mosca is that stylistically, they're very, very similar. It's a non-risk. They're risk-averse in their playstyle. They like to get the small advantage, then they like to build on that small advantage, and then slowly start crushing you and making it feel helpless to make any sort of comeback happen, as opposed to some other top players who are more like, nah, I'm happy going with the crazy. Let's just go kill him. I know I can. And then they just do it. Sometimes it fails, but they just go do it and then they win, right? So there's two different types to some degree, but Mosca and Keto, they both kind of sit in a very similar sort of realm. Nonetheless, let's take a look at the relics, and then we'll talk about the matchup and all the other good stuff that comes from that. We've got Hestia's Hearth over here. This is really, really nice for Huitzilopochtli because you can actually go for a lot of early town centers, so that can be really nice. We have Mayahuel, Magu. I don't know how this is pronounced. This one's going to make the human soldiers give you a little bit of resources back. You get 10% back on death, which, to put that into perspective, that is effectively your human soldiers being 10% cheaper. Of course, it's not that. It's a refund. But if you play well in a game, it'll effectively be that. If you obviously just get absolutely blown off the map in your first army and you die, then it's not going to be anything. You're just going to hit resign. But if you play well, it's going to be effectively a 10% boost to your economy, which is awesome. Shannong's Okra Whip over here gives you an extra 15% food gather rate when you hit the mythic age and you get flood control. Actually, this relic might be bugged. I'm looking at this thinking, hang on, nothing inside of this relic is telling me that it affects the I can't remember what it's called, the Aztecs second age farming upgrade. Nothing says that. So you might be getting gypped out of 10% food gather rate there, as Keto does find Nose of the Sphinx. Going to take that one back home and put it into the temple. Got a couple more relics up here. We've got Arrows of Heracles, making the ranged soldiers and heroes do bonus ranged attack. That's nice there, actually, for our Amaterasu Minakatatomi user, who will be going in for some bushy in this game most likely. And then also the Kopesh of Horrors series is going to be huge. So we do have Patakat coming in from Keto, and it looks to me like he isn't going for the crazy blood pact at early game attack type deal, but also we're seeing a little bit of disrespect here, I think, from Mosca. His base is very much open. He hasn't thrown any walls down. My take on how to open versus Huitzilopochtli at the moment is we got to just maybe advance a little bit later than normal, and we actually have to get ourselves our walls down. And if we do that, then this early warrior priest is not going to be all too much of an issue. As we see the blood pact actually coming through for Keto already. He's going to take out a couple of wolves there, and the villagers will simply just run back to the temple. He's going to attempt to kill a villager. It's not going to happen there, as Mosca is just going to have to garrison. And like, I feel like if he invested into the, how do I say this? If he just invested into the resources, he would have, oh, and that's a dead one Udall there as well. If he just invested the resources into the walls, then, well, this sort of attack wouldn't happen, and he would actually be net positive. Right? Net positive in the early game for building those walls up. I'm sure we're going to start seeing it later. I feel like once players get very used to the fact that this is blood pact type early game attack is here to stay, it's just going to be the right call. Unless it gets nerfed into the ground or something like that happens, then yeah, I think that's going to be something there. Meanwhile, I'm fairly certain we're going to be seeing a town center here from Keto. It's a little bit later than I think he would have liked to. He's been getting a lot of warrior priests out, a little bit scared of potential Kama Itachi's coming, but it's not Kama Itachi, it's the Minakata Tomi, so there's really no threat here. The only issue for Keto is that in playing for 2TC here, Mosca now has himself access to the 1 Yudo all-in. Now, it's not necessarily an all-in, it's just basically guaranteed damage with correct execution. It's not Mosca's style, as far as I'm concerned. He might surprise me, but it's not Mosca's style. But you can basically guarantee that you're going to be able to kill off a town center here and punish a little bit. You might not win the game right in that moment, but you will be able to set the record straight and say, you went a little bit too greedy. I'm playing Japan. I get Bushido. I need to go and fight you, but I also can't kill your town centers without siege. Well, oh, actually, wait, I've got 1 Yudo. I can kill your town centers without siege. I have the 1 Yudo to siege them down, and then I'll be able to get some Bushido and keep myself in the game, so to speak, and potentially find a win later on. As the raid comes through for Mosca, and we'll see what his decision is going to be behind this. He is getting himself more Miko out. There he goes. So this does actually indicate to me that he does plan to go for 1 Udol here. Yeah, I think that's what he's going to be going for. The issue is that unlike when you're playing versus, say, a Kronos, who might do this to you, or an Uranos or something like that, as the Kimichin spy does go down, the heroic age is coming in much faster with Huitzilopochtli, specifically with Pataket, because of the agave bloom. So a heroic age for say Kronos or Uranos might come in at like 9 minutes 30 or 10 minutes after a second town center. But for the Huitzilopochtli here, he's probably going to be able to find that heroic age something like 9 minutes or even 8 minutes 30. Not 8 minutes 30 is way off this, but probably 9 minutes 30. So there actually still is this timing here. There is still this timing. Mosca just needs to get some 1 Udol going quickly. He's already got some favor in the bank. Needs to flip his resources around a little bit and get building here. He's going for more guardhouses and dojos. So this is a little bit on the slow side. And you notice that I'm like, you got to be quick here. You've got to be. And we see another Blood Pact actually coming through. That's a wild spend there. It's 297 HP. Part of me feels like this Blood Pact is not very useful, and Mosca just runs from this, but I feel like he could just turn and kill this. Of course, it's doing 26.4 hack damage per second, but I highly doubt with this amount of units that this is surviving more than 3 seconds. Right? Am I wrong on that? Well, we can do a quick work. We can work it out, right? It's got 200 and... Hang on. It's got 200 and... Let's just call it 300 HP at 20% hack armor. So that's 3 of these guys. So it's 300-ish effective hack armor. You got 6 Naginata Riders. We're doing math on a cast. It's never good. 6 Naginata Riders. It's doing 54 DPS per second. Plus, you've got you're doing 5 here, and you got 6 of those, so that's doing like another 30 DPS per second. So we're nearly doing 100 DPS per second inside of this army. I didn't calculate the samurai, so yeah, it's 3. I'm on it. The guess was there. 3 seconds. 3 seconds. You might lose a unit, but you kill off the warrior priest for sure, and you could also use your own solar shield to ensure that unit doesn't die. So yeah, this Blood Pact on the warrior priest here, there is a really, really nice, easy, simple counter here for Amaterasu to basically just take that down and be like, great, happy days, see you later. You just wasted 50 favor and lost your warrior priest. Of course, he did get 10 favor back from the Blood Pact. So if you don't kill it, he gets 10 favor back. There is that. But nonetheless, more pressure coming in on. And this Papalotl will be hitting very, very shortly. And I think you can see I'm actually bang on about this. This is a 10 minute. It's Papalotl, even with the agave bloom. So yeah, I think that this timing exists. We're looking for a 9-minute timing against the Huitzilopochtli 2TC to hit with the 1 Udol. And these are just late. These 1 Udol here for Mosca are just late. He's a minute late. He probably should have been already in here looking for this pressure, looking for this damage, and we're going to be seeing immediately Wings of its Papalotl coming through for Keto, as he can immediately look to start raiding with the Obsidian Butterfly. Now, the big difficult part about playing versus the Obsidian Butterfly in terms of your actual army is you want to make sure that your Yuumi archers are in spread formation, and of course all the other stuff is going to matter as well. But there goes the Purge, as one samurai does manage to stay alive, and there looks to be no... Well, there is still the Ondamushi here, so you should be able to actually deal with this Obsidian Butterfly. Great spread formation there as the Obsidian Butterfly is slowly going down. It's so front-loaded in damage that I would argue that you basically just want to go in, use the special, and then run away, because that's how much damage the special does. Whereas the actual hack damage per second at 25 hack damage per second, honestly, not that much for a Heroic Age Myth unit. But the special attack is where all the damage comes from. Now, Mosca attempting to take this town center out. I think Keto may have made a slight... Oh my god. See what I mean? 300 HP down to 91 with that one special. But I think Mosca may have made a slight... Not Mosca. Keto may have made a slight misplay here in his Purge. Probably could have dropped it onto the one Udor, and he would have been able to basically take everything else out. But he will be losing the town center. There has been Bushido coming through for Mosca with this attack. So while he is only now dropping his second town center, he's behind 10 villages, and I believe there's been a fair amount of sacrificing going on for Keto. So there's a little bit of extra favor income coming from passive, the passive favor, as he's also going to sack some more, go up to 79 favor here. I think he's looking for another Blood Pact. If you Blood Pact a Obsidian Butterfly before you use the special, it's effectively boosting that special up by 3 times. Take a look at the actual upgrade here, and it gives 3x damage multiplier, 3x HP multiplier. So yeah, 3x onto an Obsidian Butterfly. Yeah, that's gonna kill pretty much everything in one shot. But you also have to be careful not to waste that special, as we are seeing from Keto. Not the best execution with these bad boys here just yet, as the Obsidian Butterflies walk straight in to the Ondamusha, as that's going to be tanking all of that damage onto the back line. There goes the Obsidian Butterfly special, but great control from Mosca as he manages to basically outplay the damage there. Effectively, if you can get the Obsidian Butterfly to use the ability, it's going to dodge everything, but in the end, it doesn't matter. He doesn't have the army to actually continue fighting here, and Keto manages to get out of the strangle that he was in. He's going to have to drop another town center. He is going to fall behind on villages. This was the plan from Mosca kind of all along. Get some Bushido in, take a half-decent fight, get himself the town center down, take the villager lead, and flip the script, so to speak, with this situation. Now, the next part about this that's really people have been complaining about this, but the next part about this that you really need to be very well aware of is that the Obsidian Butterfly is amphibious. It can fly over water. So these walls that Mosca are putting up, they're not correct. Now you can say, well, this is just an unfair unit, it's busted. And I agree, it's really strong. However, I do not agree that because something is strong, you should just complain about it and not try and beat it. Okay? The way to beat this is, there's a wood line here. There's a wood line here. Wall from here over to, wall from here over to here, wall from here over to here, and you are protected there. Over on this side, this is not protection. This is wall from here to here, wall from here up to here. Right? We've got a wall up to here, and then finish this wall off, and we are protected. Of course, I mean, I'm not going to argue it, but I'm just saying there is counterplay to these Obsidian Butterfly raids. That being said, Keto here can sometimes be very, very ethical. Sometimes he can choose to not be ethical. You never know which type of Keto you're going to get. What do I mean by ethical? Well, maybe he's not going to use that feature because he feels like it's too strong. I will see. I don't know. But Keto's in a good spot right now. He can actually start thinking about going to the Mythic Age, but I still think he should go for the town center first. He is falling behind on villages, and Mosca will catch up on military shortly. So the options here for Keto are either take the town center to limit the villager differential, or go Mythic Age and use some sort of a timing to keep himself afloat and maybe win the game, or keep himself afloat so that he can then grab 2 town centers, catch up on the villagers, and have a good mid or a good late game type situation here. As you do see some walls coming up over here, a couple of units for Mosca getting caught out as they have to pull back. I'm a little bit upset that Arrows of Heracles has not been picked up here by Mosca, but beggars can't be choosers. He is missing out a little bit on some stuff. We do see the axolotl coming in for Keto. This unit is kind of an amazing unit for the Aztecs. It's the only real consistent, it's not even consistent, right? But it's the only way that you can actually, heal your units. So yeah, it's actually quite a meaningful and strong unit. What's the actual heal on it? 150 HP, there you go. Oh no, sorry, 15 HP a second for how long? I don't even know. For 3 seconds? Is that it? No. Does it tell me? I can't read. This is fun to lose 15 HP. Well, it loses 15 HP. 15 HP a second. Oh, I guess it lasts for 150 divided by 15. Someone do that math for me. I can't do that math. That's too hard. Is it 10 seconds? I think it's 10 seconds. There you go. So 15 HP a second for 10 seconds. Go heal you dudes. And it's area of effect healing, so everything gets healed. We're not seeing Keto doing it because maybe he doesn't know about it, but he did build the dock and he got the Deuterino. He's kind of cute though. I'm like not even paying attention to the game. And we do see the walls actually up. So yeah, the obsidian butterfly can't get in. Mosca understands. And he's managed to defend himself against these raids, and he's not going to lose all his villages. Fantastic. Perfect. Can't ask for a better game than this. This is exactly what you want. Now the obsidian butterfly, still strong. Don't get me wrong. Still going to be very, very difficult to kill. Still going to be a big issue for him as the Heroic Age God Power Thunderburst comes through. But he's not going to lose all his villagers in this game, so he's going to have a chance, at the very least, to have something good going for him, as the Thunderburst will be finishing up here with one final attack. Units get sent flying. A lot of those Eagle Warriors do end up very low on the HP, and it's at this point that I want to bring up that the Eagle Warrior is technically a counter ranged unit. It's a generalist, but it is the weakest damage generalist in the game, like DPS generalist archer in the game. But it does have 1.5x versus archers, which technically puts it into the counter archer category. And it is also one of the weakest DPS counter archers in the game. So it's floating in this middle position, but because it is a counter archer, of course, it's got the most DPS of a counter archer without the counter damage included. But because it's a counter archer, the unit you need to build, and the unit that I think is really good for Mosca here, considering he's gone through the Thunderburst, or Raiju, is the Shinobi. Now, this unit is so hard to use. We need to start playing scrappy with the Shinobi. You don't want to be actually engaging this army. We want to be running over here, attacking this, defending with the archers underneath the castle, and then when the Huitzilopochtli player decides to push out, then we bring the Shinobi back in to get some big fat surrounds, and then we're good to go. As the butterflies coming in over onto the side here, there goes another purge. Brutal damage to come through, and well, Mosca is just simply going to be pulling out of there. He's got to just recoup the losses, rebuild. He does have the villager advantage there, and of course there was a fairly significant villager sacrifice from Keto to make that happen. I don't believe he used his sacrifice there in the Great Temple, which I do think is a mistake, though he doesn't have any herdables left, which is another mistake. So the one massive power spike from the Aztecs that I think most Aztec players are missing is that mid-game secondary usage of Purge, of Starfall, of potentially Agave Bloom, where we're basically looking Nice snipe there on one of the obsidian butterflies. We're basically looking to sacrifice 3 herdables and then sacrifice something like 5 villagers into the temple to then get ourselves another charge of our heroic age or classical age god power. Potentially also you could use that to get an extra charge of your mythic age god power, but generally speaking, I don't think that's worth it because the mythic age myth units are so insanely good. I'd much rather see players spending 350 favor on the Ahuizotl than getting an extra pillar of Tlalucan. Nonetheless, we will be seeing Orkininushi coming through here, and this is going to be interesting. I really hope Mosca goes into the Omaraki, because that's a unit that I think is going to be quite challenging for Keto to actually deal with. Take a look at the actual speed here. He's got 4.8 speed on the Incarnate. He's got 4.8 speed on the Warrior Priest. The Orkinunushi's Omaraki has 4.8 speed as well, which basically means I can charge in, drop my front-loaded damage of all of the wretches, and then I can run that guy back, and then as the heroes charge in to try and deal with them, then I can kill off the heroes, then I can pull them back in, and we can have some fights. Nonetheless, the myth unit sacrifice is in the Incarnate coming through. The Pillar of Tlalucan going to drop straight onto one of those castles on the back there. As the villagers pull back, they're going to have to repair it or continue building the castle, I guess. But this is going to be a tough position here for Mosca to hold. He has a villager advantage. He can just hold off on this. Pops out with all of those shinobi as they're going to try and dive onto the champion Eagle Warriors. They're all very low HP, but they are getting some huge damage done there as the blood pack does come through onto said Ayotochli, as that's going to be a dead Townsend. And we do have the Axolotl Mutant coming through as well to help out to boot there, as there goes the what's it called? The Sacred Gate, as well as all of the upgrades to, or God powers to come back for another charge here. Drops that onto this army there as another castle does end up going down, but the Blood Pact is about finished here. Meanwhile, now the Omaraki is in. I don't see that upgrade coming in immediately for Mosca. This has to be a mistake. This Omaraki is everything here. Would easily deal with the champion Eagle Warriors. Of course, they have 19 range, so they will be able to get some good damage done onto them on Omaraki, but you're not going to be able to kill them off, basically, with 550 HP, 55% PS armor. He's going to be going straight after this position, looking to idle these villagers on the gold mine, which is fair enough, but best usage is get the upgrade, build the Omaraki, and live the dream. As he pops over here, tiny little bits of damage. Without this unit being upgraded, it's a little bit lackluster. Obviously still gets a couple of Vild kills and some idle time here, but it is a little bit lackluster. Once you get the upgrade, it's really, really strong. However, an interesting decision here from Mosca, and I think this actually makes sense as well in order to deal with the Eagle Warriors, is he's going to go into Mechanical Artisans, which does make the Oyumi incredibly powerful against human units. Gets himself, it's particularly incredibly powerful versus Eagle Warriors. It gives the Oyumi an extra 50% pierce damage, which basically means they are going to be doing something like 12-ish pierce damage per second, but it's piercing, which means it's going to be doing damage through a whole bunch of different units that it hits. So its damage gets multiplied up to the nth degree, right? As the army comes through, we did see some Jaguar riders coming in, but immediately Mosca reacts with the Yati Spearman, trying to take out the Tajipla on the middle here, and that one will end up going down quite strong there. That's not the Incarnate. That there was the actual, just the regular Tajipla, as the Incarnate was taken out already. But nonetheless, more castles are coming up. We've got the Town Center up for Keto. He's still floating at max resources here as well. Economically speaking, Mosca is missing his Mythic Age upgrades for the moment. He's got himself his market already set up. He's very, very consistent with this. Probably should consider just starting a trade route at this point anyways, just a little one. Building a handful. You don't even have to auto queue it. Just build a handful out. And we do have, actually maybe you don't need to. With Divine Prefecture, you can get your trade route started in a in a pinch, like very, very quickly. But reality will set in here for Mosca. He needs this town center, and he needs it now. He's now going to get himself a whole bunch more Miko out as well to get himself the favor. He built out a whole bunch of one Udor. I don't like the one Udor pick here. It's more of an early game unit. I mean, it's kind of, I guess it's kind of strong. What is it doing? 27.2 crush damage per second. The Oyumi's doing 33.3 crush damage per second. It's just a better siege unit. This is not a unit we want for this portion of the game, as you do see the temple going down. Now the Oyumi will start to hit these units. You've got to sort of click onto the Eagle Warriors, though, as the army here for Mosca. Is it going to be enough is the big question. Onto the back there, the Atontan Smash are going to come through. We do see some champion Shinobi getting brought through as the Tajipla will come in, deal with both of those one Udor on the back. One idea here always for the Shinobi is to actually simply just utilize the Soulless Shield to get a whole bunch more damage off. If you Soulless Shield a Shinobi in this position, he'll tank all the damage and also get all of his damage off because he's a glass cannon. So if he stays alive for ages, it's going to be really, really strong. As the Sean one will slowly start to come through. And these Sean one are really, really strong. But actually, I don't think they are an answer to what Mosca's doing. What is an answer to what Mosca is doing, however, is the Ahuizotl. This thing is a tank. It's got a huge amount of HP, if I can see it here. It's got a huge amount of HP at 1800 hack, more importantly, 2571 effective pierce HP, which basically means that you can tank up these Oyumi and run in and then kill them all. Plus, it's doing, is it doing crush? It's not doing crush, but it's doing 40 hack damage per second, which means it's going to be basically 4 hitting the Oyumi. Or he can drop the Blood Pact and then he can kill off everything. As another really, really nice option. Great find there from Keto, as he will charge through and deal with a bunch of this stuff. Really, really nice. And Mosca back to the drawing board a little bit with how he's going to attempt to deal with this army. I think that Mosca's best bet here, rather than going through the Oyumi, was to go into Omuraki. But also on top of this, he could be going for Shinobi raids. There's no way for the Sean one to be an effective answer to Shinobi raids. It's just not a thing. It's too slow. It's 4.3 speed. It needs to be protecting the Eagle Warriors as well. You rush off to the side, go and attack the main base, go and attack this position, break through these walls, break through the Great Temple, raid these villages, and then Sean ones come around, great, retreat out, pull back up, hit the Eagle Warriors, hit this position, etc. And you just do that on loop. Very, very high micro, high intensity, but for this level of gameplay, it's the right way to go about it. For lower level players, just build on Meraki and live the dream is my suggestion. But now the champion Jaguar Riders, they're going to be cracking this base. And does Mosca have the army out to deal with this? The answer is a resounding no. He does, however, have himself the infrastructure. Right now, he's got 4 guardhouses with conscripts, and he's got conscripts and the divine prefecture. So these Yati spearmen train incredibly fast. But yeah, the Jaguar Riders will be beating up on those Naginata Riders, no problems, even with the town center and the castle there because of the high pierce armor that they've got. I believe they've got high pierce armor. Let me just see if I can click one. Yeah, 56% pierce armor is huge. So he does need to get over there with those bad boys as the army tries to charge in yet again. But with the Oyumi, it's too much. You've got the Plague Bringer on Meraki now starting to come through. We'll see if this is going to be enough or not. I think you need 3 or 4 of them, and then they're going to be able to be really strong. One idea for the Omaraki is to actually use the special outside of range, like manually, and then you're never going to be in range to take damage from those Eagle Warriors. But nonetheless, the army charges in for Mosca as well. Another Plague Bringer Omaraki comes in onto the back line there as the Jaguar Riders, are going to try and charge in here to get onto the Oyumi. But the front there from Mosca looking like it's going to be too much. And Mosca seems to have figured this one out now as he is managing to stay afloat. But here's the thing. The queue for both players looks infinite now. I don't know if Mosca is going to be able to actually break through while this is all going on. And there is one very, very difficult thing ahead for Mosca. And that is, look at this population slowly creeping up. Keto's at 8 great temples, or he's building 8. Is he at 8? He's got a bunch. He's building 2 at the moment. 1 over here, 1 over here. So he's got 6 great temples up, going up to 8, which means he's going to be plus 8 population, because he's grabbed himself this technology in here, which is called 4 jars, which makes the great temples cheaper, but also increases your population cap by 1, which is very, very strong. And I think you can get a maximum of 15. So you can get to plus 15 population on your opponent. And considering the Mosca late game here, he's got 17 economic villages with the Miko included. And then he's also got his trade route with 20. He doesn't have as much population at all. But he does have the Omaraki, which, to be honest, should be able to hold for a very, very long time. Now, the next question here is going to be, can Keto break through the Oyumi Playbringer Omaraki with plus 15 population, or not? Now, there is always going to be this option for Keto. He really does not want to be tributing villages, but I feel like at this point there's not really any bad reason to tribute villages, even at only 2 favor per villager. Look at the resources. He could easily just say, all right, let's get rid of 20 villages, rebuild them all, or trade them in for caravans. Take the extra 20 favor, plus finishing up on the all of the passive that you're getting. But yeah, a bit of missed micro here from Mosca as the Eagle Warriors are targeting down the Plaguebringer Omaraki. Anyways, you're at 100 villages. There's no sense in not sacrificing villages in this portion of the game, even if it's only 2 favor apiece, because it's just, you're going to rebuild them. And they can go into another Blood Pact, and that can potentially then take down these Oyumi with the Awuzotl technique that Keto already tried. But for the moment, it's just pure Eagle Warrior, and, well, the Tejipla actually coming in is an interesting try. This might be enough here. I doubt it. Surely this guy dies pretty quickly. Yeah, he does die pretty quickly, but the Oyumi are starting to fall here. And onto the back line, this is going to be an issue as one of these castles does end up going, Great Temples does end up going down. The Great Temple over here is going up quickly. Samurai coming through to defend this. But if Keto breaks on this position, then the market is going to go down, and that will be game over for Mosca. But Mosca at the moment not really able to train units here and defend what's coming for him in the middle. He's trying, but it's not quite working out. We see the Jaguar Riders coming through as well. And a dock coming up from Mosca for some attempt here. He does get himself the Umibozu, which will be able to deal with the Great Temple here. Nice little find. He doesn't actually need to deal with it. He's actually just dealt with it. He could also go for a teleportation thing over onto this side and hit this gold mine as an option with the Umibozu. He does have that idea, just to click up onto here. But it's looking like Mosca is deciding to go for a Secrets of the Titans play. Now, this is interesting because the favor isn't in for Keto just yet. Of course, he could sacrifice 20 villages and get up to the favor, but... or not even 20, like 10 villages and get up to the favor. But in doing this, Mosca looks like he's got no resources, right? He also doesn't have any military, and he doesn't have this town center up. Does he have the time to get this Secrets of the Titans out? I'm not even sure if he does, because there's all of this siege coming. The Kinemetsen getting some good damage. More importantly, the champion Atonton smashes. Look at these guys. People have been telling me these guys are weak, but 13.8 hack damage times 8 on a unit that's got 372 HP. Also has 74% pierce armor. This guy doesn't die easily. He's dealing a lot of damage. And Mosca just can't get any units out. He sees these guys like, great, I got to build Samurai. Fantastic. But then I still have to deal with all these Eagle Warriors, which just aren't easy to deal with. They're just very, very powerful. But like I said, the ideas are here. Like, Omaraki were working, but for some reason there's no more Omaraki out. Shinobi were working, but there's no more Shinobi out. He's going for some cheeky walls up on the top, which I love. This is always a good idea, but it does get thwarted by Keto as Keto goes for the perpendicular wall. My guy, he's a man after my heart. You stop this beautifully by doing this type of idea. You have to gate the wall, though. That's important. Otherwise, it causes issues for yourself. But really nice play. Secret of the Titans is in, but I'm not seeing the Titan gate getting dropped down. Maybe, did he actually finish it? I'm pretty sure he did. He's not going for the Titan gate. Did he? Yeah, he did finish it, but not going for the Titan gate because he just doesn't have resources. His economy has literally just fallen off a cliff. I am not even sure. I guess it's just because the trades haven't been going well, and the population advantage for Keto is shot up to plus, what is that? He's 260. So how many does he have? He's got 10 great temples, about to be 10 great temples. With plus 9 population. Absolutely insane. Nonetheless, Mosca does tap out in the end of this game, and Keto manages to break through. I mean, this was a hard-fought game without question. Both players trying to figure out the right way through it. I think Mosca found the right way through it inside of the Omaraki. I do think the Shinobi angle also works, but I feel like if you're going to go for the Shinobi angle, you want to go as Amaterasu, you want to go for brain work. It's not going to work. I'm just going to click here. My brain just decided it wanted to turn off. You want to go for this one. You want to go for Ame no Uzume, right? This gives you, not only does it give you Gohei wands, which is really, really good. It opens up a very strong possibility for the late game to go into the Omaraki angle. But more importantly, you get access to Katagi, which gives 10% hit points on your infantry, increasing your Shinobi HP. Then you want to go through Raijin, which also gives us Hanya Mask, which is now giving an extra 15% hit points on your infantry, plus 10% lifesteal. You'll see where I'm going with this shortly. Then you go through Takamikazuchi, and you get Sumo Training, which is an extra 20% hit points on your infantry. And guess what? Infantry you want to be building. You want to be building the Shinobi, of which has a really difficult time surviving because its HP pool is low. But guess what? Plus 10%, plus 15%, plus 20%. All of a sudden, this Shinobi starts feeling really tanky. And your opponent is forced into a position where they can't really commit to that Eagle Warrior Bull anymore. So that's option number one, I think. And of course, the Shinobi then can go around and nuke buildings and things like that and feel really good about themselves. The other thing you can add in, especially with Gohei wands in that specific situation, is the Asura. People have been saying the Aztecs are fairly weak versus myth units, but we aren't seeing players building myth units. This unit is an answer for the Sean one. A really good answer for the Sean one. So that's one angle. And then the other angle, again, I think you should go through Ame no Uzume for Gohei wands, but you're going through this for the Goshin Boku tree, and you're going through this for the second Goshin Boku tree, and you're going to be getting yourself the Omaraki. The only issue with this is we don't get Minakata Tomi, so we don't get the one Yudo, so we do have some issues when facing a 2-town center player. We can't really take down the town center as easily with Ame no Uzume. However, we do have the option of putting pressure onto our opponent early on while we're taking pressure, or we can just wall in our base and our opponent can wall in their base, and then neither player takes pressure, and then we both take a town center and we both live the dream. But that's my take on this. I think this is a really, really interesting matchup to look at, and it sort of opens your eyes up to a whole bunch of different possibilities. I love Keto's play style here. I sort of love that he didn't go absolute abuse mode on Mosca. Mosca was a little bit slow on the walls. I don't know if he knew about the amphibious or not, but he did figure it out in the game regardless, and he didn't lose like all of his villages and just lose the game right at 20 minutes. But you could see how fun this game gets when all of the preparations are in place. place. And the fact that you have to react to something that your opponent does, I think that's a beautiful thing in this game. And I do hope that this Obsidian Butterfly does stay potent and makes this a important part of the game plan versus its Papalotl. If it's not an important part of playing against its Papalotl, I'm like, well, what's the point? Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed the game. If you did, make sure you hit the follow on the Twitch. If you're on the YouTube, hit that subscribe button, and I will see you guys in the next game.